there, ref. That's he got the ball.
There we go.
Good afternoon, Spurs fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boys Dave and Jack, bringing you your pre-match build-up for what is a big, big night tonight. Of course, Tottenham 3 from 3 in the Europa League, or is it 4 from 4? Anyway, we're looking to keep our 100% record, and we do have a much more difficult game this evening against a much better opposition and in a much more tougher environment, much more tougher atmosphere. United went back there in the 90s and it was dubbed Welcome to Hell. And then also Timo Werner, I believe, playing Besiktas at one point, requested earplugs because of the hostile nature of the Turkish fans. So it's not going to be a very nice place for Tottenham's young, injury-ravaged squad to travel. However, we never stop, baby. We've picked up the most points from losing positions at home this season, and that motto, we never stop. So let's go. Exciting day ahead. Jack, how are you feeling, my man? Really appreciate you picking up the slack the last couple of days. How are you keeping?
Doing the best I can, Dave. Kind of went out pretty late last night, saw a friend for, a little band session, which was pretty fun, but then ended up being on a long, very depressing bus ride back, from kind of North Seattle, and got home pretty late. But it's Europa League time. It's a competition, I have a soft spot for. These are also kind of the bigger games in the Europa League that I think are the hipster games on paper, the ones that do look pretty cool on paper, the Tottenham versus Galatasaray's, the Fenerbahce's versus, I don't know, like an Aston Villa. I do kind of like those type of fixtures, two good teams, as well as going away from home to a cultural mecca of football, really, right? Istanbul, they're kind of just like London. They have multiple teams. All the biggest teams in the country are all centered around that city, just like in London in the UK. So, Dave, looking forward to it. It's kind of an opportunity for me to nerd out and also as well see some of the old, Galatasaray players of the past, the Dries Mertens, the Icardis. It should be a fun test. It's going to be our toughest game, I imagine, in this competition. It should be fun. It should be fun.
And the returning your favorite, Davinson Sanchez, as well. I think he's playing with them, isn't he? So, should be a fun watch. Hopefully, he's as calamity as ever and gives us a few goals tonight. That'd be absolutely brilliant. But look, like Jack highlighted, it's not going to be an easy game to go. They are passionate about their football out there. But Drew, how are you keeping, sir? Great to have you back, my man.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be here. I won't bore you with how I am because it's awful. Emotional wreck. I've got a chest infection from some dude at work. I miss my mum. I'm fed up. I'm happy one minute, I'm sad the next. But, such is life. I'm just glad to be here with you guys to talk Tottenham.
Well, Tottenham's
been 100%. That's true. Is Tottenham not been improving your mood a little bit, Drew?
Well, no, to be fair, it's one of the few things that is actually improving my mood at the moment. I just I don't like to get too carried away, because as soon as you do, they'll shoot you in the foot for you. So I just just got to go one game at a time. I've got a feeling, to be honest with you, with the I don't know, I think it might be a tough one tonight. I'm preparing myself to maybe, have to take one on the chin, because I'd honestly, I always want 3 points if they're available, but by the same token, I would rather have 3 points on Sunday than 3 points tonight. Like if we have to suffer one,
question,
then fair enough. As I say, I never want to see, I always want to go in hoping we'll win, but I think it's like you said, it's going to be a tough atmosphere. They got some good players up front, but I think as me and Jack were saying just before we got started coming on air, they're just the further through the team you go, the worse they get. Like they don't have too many people in midfield that you could write home about. And then also, their defense looks a bit shaky. Like I said, the Davinson Sanchez. I mean, and then they got a goalkeeper who admittedly looks like he was pretty good at one point, but he's only worth £1 million and he's 38 years old. And I just we should have enough, really, shouldn't we, regardless of injuries? But yeah, you never know. Balu says 10-0 Spurs. Big up chat as well. Smash the like button, wouldn't you? Smash the old likes.
No, 100%. Big up, everybody. What I will say, Drew, is Spurs do have a habit to turn up when nobody expects them to and deliver an unexpected performance. So hopefully that is tonight, although the lineup will be interesting. We are depleted right now. Does Postecoglou hold players back for Ipswich to make sure what happened against Brighton doesn't happen against Ipswich heading into the international break? Or does he look to go full strength tonight and, maintain his 100% record in the Europa League? What I will say is the fact that we've got off to such a good start, 9 points from 9, it does give us a bit of scope in this Europa League. We don't have to win every game. We can sort of navigate and start to prioritize the Premier League around this time if we wanted to. So it'll be interesting to see what Postecoglou really does do in terms of team selection. But look, let's tell everybody everything they need to know. Let's welcome everybody in the chat. And Dermot will be joining us at some point. And let's kick on and talk a bit about Ange Postecoglou. So, of course, today the game is at... No, why are they giving me the wrong ones? Here they are. Today the game is at Rams Park in Istanbul, Galatasaray, the home of the kebab. That's where the game is being played today. Kickoff is at 5:45 p.m. The referee is Laurens Wieser from Belgium. The VAR room is Bram van Drischer from Belgium. And if you want to watch the game in the UK and Ireland, it's on TNT Sports. In the USA, it's on Paramount Plus, and in Australia, it is on Stan Sport. Tottenham's long injury list. Van de Ven out with the hamstring up until the international break. Spence with a groin. Udeberg still out as well. Romero with his foot. Werner with a groin. Moore with illness. And Richarlison with a hamstring. So that is all the players that is missing today. I know they have brought young Dante Casanova, Lancashire, Barrett Williams, Dorrington, players like that. So be interesting to see if we can get them a few minutes. Although I would say I wouldn't get too excited. I'm not sure today is the right game to be blooding some of these guys, to be quite frank, especially from the start. I think if they do get minutes, it might be near the end if we want to pull players off and rest them, but they definitely won't start. So I wouldn't get too carried away with that. Let's welcome some people in the chat and then let's kick on. We've got On Your Bike Scott. Big up, everyone. Let's get the win. Come on, you Spurs. Great to see you, sir. Mungie32 says, come on, you Spurs. Shem Tam, hey, Jack and Dave. Hopefully, Dave, hope you're both well today. How have we suddenly got so many injuries? Look, I'm not surprised. I was in around this point last year when injuries absolutely stacked up and mounted for us. I would say the only difference this time is, and we're not out of the woods yet, but it looks like we have a squad that might be able to handle this, whereas last year we didn't. And that's why we're all in such a good mood, because although we're suffering injuries, and the one against City was absolutely big, by the way, players coming off injured and stuff like that, we still managed to maintain a certain level, a certain style of play, and go and score goals. So I'm not too worried about the injury crisis this year. At the end of the day, one thing I've always maintained over here, and my own personal opinion is, you have a squad for a reason. You should be able to rely on your squad through times like this. And hopefully we're starting to get to that point at Tottenham Hotspur. We have Ryzen, big up, love these pre-match shows. Big up, Reese. Really appreciate that, my man, and hopefully you're keeping well. Reese, actually, that's how you say it. It's a great Welsh name. Really appreciate the support on these pre-matches, my man. We've got Ribsy85. Hey, all, come on, you Spurs. More Europa adventures. It's early for you, Ribsy, isn't it? Very early for you to be awake, if I'm correct. We also have, or very late, maybe, one of the two, Jaden Bates, Roadrunner game. We also have Drew Zilla, big up everyone. We have Ash P, hey Jack, and maybe Dave. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, James. Good to see you. Down with Arsenal. Look, we could be ahead of them by the end of next weekend, heading into the international break. How times have changed. And Tony says, afternoon, gents. Good to see you, Tony. Big up, Paul123. Hopefully you're keeping well. Lisa, got to get my pre-match music fixed. Big up, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs from Mexico. Absolutely great place to be. Tony says, we'll jump above Arsenal on the weekend. I can't wait for the meltdown. Neither can I. Ian Ferguson, good morning, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well. Haven't seen you around in a while. Hopefully life is treating you well. We also have Donovan Oosterreicher. This is one of those games where I don't expect the result, but now it's over to the players to provide us inspiration. It's why we watch, support the support.
And believe, I think.
Yeah, believe. Big up Donovan Oosterreicher. Look, it is. And at the end of the day, look, I have a lot more faith in the squad this year than what I do in previous years. So, although I get we got a lot of injuries, I'm not going to lie, I still expect to sort of turn up and, eke out a win here today, to be quite frank. Just as long as we don't get the excuses that we got from Vitesse when we got knocked out of the Europa Conference League. Their home fans were too noisy for us. Remember that complaint? The pitch. even though both teams had to play on it. The referee, even though, it's absolutely madness. Hopefully we're not seeing excuses of that level. Hopefully we can actually restore a bit of pride tonight. It'll go a long way to easing a bit of Tottenham's pride in Europe for sure. Jamie McDonald, big up, lads. Hope you're all well. I'm going for a 4-1 win tonight. Look, I take it. I'm not sure that's going to happen, though, but I admire the confidence, Jamie. We also have Bob Bean Counter, big up, Felix. Let's put these guys in a kebab. I do like kebabs. Let's not sacrilege food like that. Rome V and Son Sanchez gave us a warning. We are fielding a strong team. I mean, I can't wait to see us run rings around that guy and prove we were right to sell him, to be quite frank. Limpy Down Under, I really want to see some young guns play, seeing as we have so many injuries, and I don't expect much. We also have Ribsy says, I think we'll see carried away, Drew, before the end of this season. Well, I hope. Anyway, look, if Brennan Johnson scores today, we'll have to get the welfare check in again. John Lee, we will win today. I love the confidence, Johnny boy. Big up, Jose outside Cockerel. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have K32. Hello, David, Jack, and everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Just collect my daughter from school and listening along. Big game tonight, all about our attitude tonight. Well, first of all, safe journey home. I mean, if you want to make life easy on yourself with an early kickoff, I do suggest stopping in on the chippy on the way home, sort the family out with a meal so you can just get straight onto the couch and watch the game. K32, priorities here. And you're right, it is all about attitude tonight. In years gone by, we've had backup players who believe they were too good to be playing these sort of games. So let's wait and see what the attitude's like tonight, my man. Big up, Nick. Good to see you all the way from New York. Hopefully you're keeping well. Wait, Istanbul. I thought it was Constantinople.
Maybe it could be again one day.
Big up, Nick. We also have Reckless Madness. Big up, Al. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, sir. We have also got Burptoff's halftime smoke. I'll have a look, man. I haven't seen anything. I haven't looked at anything the last couple of days. I've been in bed, to be quite frank with you. But I'll definitely have a look, my man. I know there's one from Stevie Fraser there as well, and there's also one from Lesser Known that I have to get back to, so just bear with me. I'll get back to you all tomorrow. P-Dubs, what's up, boys? It's going to be a battle today. Hopefully we get through without any injuries. I mean, that's probably people's main concern, right? If we get an injury to Davies or Dragonson, we're absolutely fucked. So, we got to preserve them today. Alpesh Patel, afternoon. Can we start this win and run of games, or will injuries peg us back? I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Alpesh Patel. Look, we'll get quick answers off the panel on this one. Jack, what's your thoughts to Alpesh here?
Sorry, I was doing
Drew,
some of the...
Drew first. Drew, what's your thoughts on Alpesh here, my man? Do you think the injuries will peg us back, or do you think we can prevail and push forward?
I don't know. I was just literally just thinking as you were reading out that comment, like, it just goes to show that I think if you do get a bad run where you get somebody, your first two pick up a couple of knocks, or you have one, Van der Ven playing the way he does, if it was going to be a thing where he's out for 3 or 4 games in patches, and, you run the risk of needing almost like a 5th centre-back, or at least a utility player that can play, maybe a 6 or a centre-back, or one of the left or right-back positions. So I think that's probably another reason Gray was brought in, because he seems to be playing as like a utility centre-back at times, doesn't he? So yeah, I hope it's not going to be the case, because I would hate to see our fine run of form start to fall apart. Right, let's say that 3 times fast. So yeah, I mean, he does have a very, very good point. I'd really, really hope we can. Well, I hope the medical staff can, not screw us over either, because we don't have the best run of luck with those guys either, do we?
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
come back,
right, exactly. No, so very, very good point. Just got fingers crossed, really, because it's happening to everybody, and I think it's just a case of it's just too much football. It's been too much football for the last 18 months, 2 years, and it's just more and more. If it's not even. I mean, we're coming up to our 3rd international break of the season, and we're in November. Like, what? Why do we need a Nations League? Like, why do we need, as much as, I know I'm probably going off on a bit of a tangent here, but like every other league has got like a league and a cup, and then the European Cup, and we have to have the Carabao Cup as well. And I know it's potentially, a cup that we could win. Like, I would rather forego a competition in order to watch quality football and have the first 11 on a pitch more often than not. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm sorry. I've gone off.
No, look, I understand what you mean. And for me, I love international football, but with the standard of it, I think that's the one that might have to give a little, to be honest, to make way for, which is what the biggest money earner is in football, is the domestic competitions. But Jack, what's your thoughts? Because, last year we suffered an injury to Van de Ven. Romero got sent off, and we suffered a lot of under injuries, and our form sort of really curtailed off, right? We couldn't really maintain it when we had to go and rely on the squad, and we got a lot of injuries. How do you think we're going to cope with that this year? To Alpesh's point, do you think it's going to hold us back, or do you think we can maintain it?
I think it would hold any team back. It certainly could hold ours, but I think we're better prepared for it this year than we were last year. Last year, we were trying to still understand how, the team works, what even our starting 11, was. And we just had so many just obstacles thrown in our way where it probably was really hard for Ange to even get any idea of what his first team truly is, or at least the guys that he feels like he can trust on a regular basis. I think he has a much better idea of that now. So he knows which injuries are maybe more costly than other injuries. I think he's also as well, kind of learned maybe which games to push these guys, which games to give them a rest. As much as we occasionally have problems with his substitutions, I would say for the most part, Ange has had a lot of times where he's had to learn a thing or two about maybe pushing a guy too far, right? Maybe with Van de Ven picking up that injury kind of early on in the season, right? And then missing a game, kind of moments like that. And I think Spurs are better prepared. If Ben Davies also continues in fine form, we're better prepared. We do have Dragishin. Last year, we didn't have Dragishin until basically the January window, if I'm not mistaken. So we had a period there where we didn't, get to play the center back that we would have probably preferred to have back there. And then other kind of signings here and there, you could say like Archie Gray coming into the team, I think helps us out. He could technically play center back if needed. And I think we're just better prepared in case we have to go through a ton of injuries for the most part. But I think any team would suffer from it, Dave, to be honest. And ours certainly would. We're not Man City. We're not Chelsea or anything like that. We definitely would feel the burden of it. Then again, it's also an opportunity for younger players to get their shot. So I don't know. I think we're just better prepared for it this year.
I do, and look, I think the change in squad also brings about a change in attitude where you have players that are looking to break into that first 11. They realize they are important. These are the games, and they're getting the results at the end of the day. Now, you'd say against Alkmaar, we've seen a little bit of a drop off in terms of performance and excitement. Will we see that tonight? And I do think somewhere along the line, we will drop a game or two because of injuries and stuff like that. But for the large part, I just hope it doesn't completely derail our campaigns like it has done under previous managers and in previous seasons. If we can maintain a certain level, which we've been shown we've been able to do. And, fair play to Postecoglou in that regard, actually, because he has made a lot of rotational changes in games this season to navigate the hectic fixture schedule. And by doing that, we're actually heading into a game today where I'm not sitting there in previous years going, if Ben Davies plays, we're losing. If Sanchez plays, we're losing. If Dyer plays, we're losing. To Jack's point, Ben Davies has stepped in. He's been absolutely brilliant this season when he stepped in. And, now that we're at this point where injuries happen, and we knew it was going to happen, we spoke about it. That's why we needed to build the squads in the summer transfer window. And we knew injuries were going to happen. And now that they're happening, you've got players that are stepping in, that have minutes under their belt, they're up to speed, and they're ready to go. And I do think we're starting to see the benefits of that, Alpesh. So that is good. But look, let's keep it moving. Let's keep welcoming a few more in. I'm miles behind, so at some point, I'm just going to have to say a broad hello to everybody, but I'll try and get in as much as I can. But big up, Alpesh. Really appreciate the support. Moondog says, good evening, lads. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Moondog. Good to see you, lad, and hopefully you're keeping well. He says, trying to repair a jukebox fix before the match. Oh, well, look, make sure you put, the Ange Postecoglou song on that jukebox. I mean, the Sun song, Werner on the dance floor. And, there's plenty of good Spurs songs you can put on that to make it a better product than what it arrived to you as, Moondog. But honestly, hopefully you get the job done before the game. Go on, Jack.
We'll give him Lazy Eight's number, Dave. He seems like a guy that would know how to fix a jukebox. He could practically probably fix anything music related. So I think we'll put Nick on the case. Send it over to him.
Big up, Moondog. Really appreciate support, and hopefully we can get the big 3 points today, my man. Absolute legend. Big up Dan H, Terry Wright. We also have Kevin Ferguson. Good to see you guys. This is my boys. Big up, gentlemen. Great to see you, Kev. We've got Wembley 1. Afternoon, boys. Good test this evening for how our team spirit and leadership might or might not hold up in a hostile atmosphere. I'm not that hopeful. Look, it'd be a great test of the leadership and the team in general. What I will say is there does seem to be a lot more togetherness. You know, we have that fight back ability, that bounce back ability. We've proven that this season. We picked up the most points from losing positions at home. Now, what I will say is our away form is where the big questions are coming in, and that is an area that still needs to be addressed. Hopefully today we can take a step in the right direction, Wembley. We've got Alberto, good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. We have Francis Reynolds, Mark Cook, great to see you, Mark. Just big up to you, lads, legends. We've got Gary Swams. It's going to be a tough game. That it is, Gary. Big up Paul 123 more Werner Richie Udeber, who's playing white tonight. That's definitely something we'll be asking in a little while. We've got Jessica, evening all. Good to see you, and she's gone with 3-1. Big up, Jessica. Hopefully we can, I'd take that right now. I'd snap your hand off for it. Raymond, son, big up, Dave and Jack. Good to see you. Chris Sagenbar, great to see you. Ange Ball, Erink, great to see you. Who else have we got here? Spurs lover or sports lover. You can't risk Solanke if he goes down. Your season is over. I know. Look, we're going to have another talk about Richarlison and what we do tonight. Do you go with a Lancashire? Do you go with a Solanke and run the risk of running them, running them tired, running them ragged, running them to an injury? It's not a good position to be in. I thought having a couple of strikers, 3 strikers to pick from, we wouldn't be in this position, sports. But it doesn't matter how many we have, we're always going to be in this position. Reckless Madness has gifted 5 Irish Hotspur channel memberships. Jackie boy, who's the lucky recipient?
Cam Shanks, Tottenham Ranger, that's a great name. Ali Abdullah, also a great name. Levy, or hopefully Levy, let me know. Making good time, all great names. Really appreciate you people as well watching in the background, because as Dave discovered before, the people that are gifted out the memberships are the ones that have been, watching us loyally in the background, or just, been participating a lot in the channel. So we appreciate you. And also Alan as well. Thanks for spreading the love of the community. Up nice and early with myself. So hopefully you got a nice Spurs coffee. And it's a little bit of a change from the 12 o'clock kickoffs that we're used to, Alan, or I guess in Dave's case in the UK, it'd be around an 8 p.m. kickoff. We're over in Istanbul. So big time difference. Huge game for us. And it's probably the best game on paper, you would say, of our Europa League clashes, I think, this season, Alan. So I'm really looking forward to this game, and I appreciate you sending out the love. And please, everybody that's been gifted out the memberships, do thank the lucky givers, please, or the generous givers, please.
Big up, I really appreciate support. Very generous, my man. And everybody, make sure you thank Al, and make sure you make best use of those channel memberships. Plenty of stuff coming your way. Big up Paul 123, Paul G, Delhi 20, great to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Slim Boy Tubbs, Oxymoron. We also have Cap and Pants. He says if we win tonight, we lock in top 8. Fair point, Leighton Evelyn. He says Dave Bingo in years gone by. We also have Paul and Thor, Gold Galaxy, Talks Tottenham, Family Spurs fan, Mark New, and Connor Lynchy as well. Good to see all you guys. Really appreciate everybody tuning in today. Jack Davy Shire has gifted 5 channel memberships. Big up, Davy. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Good to see you. Hopefully you and the family are keeping well. Who's the lucky recipients of Davy's generosity, Jacko?
Leo Starman Recordings, Neil 1336, James Love Spurs, Israel Uncovered. Big up, Amir. We'd love to have a chat with you again. Hopefully you can come on, have a chat with us. And then David, big up to David as well. Also gifted out a membership. Great name. It's a strong opinion as well. Knows his football if it's a David. So come on, have your say. It's a fan show membership. So anybody's been gifted one, you can come on, have a chat with us the next fan show, or as well, send in your fan cams after the game. And then there's also just plenty of other, regular members content that you get as well. But appreciate you guys watching in the background. And again, thank you to Davy Shire, another David in the house, David Armstrong tonight for the generosity. Thank you so much.
David versus Goliath, Jack. We always win, don't we, Davy? That's Man City, that's Aston Villa, and hopefully tonight it's Galatasaray, Davy. Big up, my man. I really appreciate support from down under, and hopefully you're keeping well. We've got Brett Lockhead. Good to see you, sir. Hopefully you're keeping well. Shem Chan, member for 6 months. Thanks for always putting out such great shows, guys. Look, really appreciate it, my man. I don't know whether they're good or not. We just like sitting here listening to the sound of our own voices, building up to the games, But me, I'm just glad to have people to talk to rather than myself, to be quite frank, on the build up to these games. So it's good for me. Big up, Shem. Really appreciate support, brother, and hopefully we get the win tonight. And then we also have this from the Big D. 1 hour left in work, then home time, early kickoff, cash back. Let's go through tonight without any more injuries and get a draw or win. I'll take that. Well, look, good that you've only 1 hour left in work. You should be home just in time for kickoff, which is absolutely perfect. Again, suggest maybe you might have to stop off and get dinner somewhere because it doesn't give you enough time to get home and cook. Maybe a few cans, if there's enough license next door, might be ideal for you. And look, let's get through tonight without any injuries. Absolutely spot on. We can't afford any more injuries right now because if not, we'll have to bring up the under-21 side, and it's not the one from last season because the majority of them are owned out. So it'll be this season's under-21 side or the under-18s. In fact, if it keeps going, you might see me. I mean, if that guy at Palace Mateta can get a job up front, there's hope for me yet, Big D. Big up, my man, and really do appreciate the support, sir. Absolute legend, and big up DJ Samuel, Dirty Sanchez, Christopher as well, and HOTSPUR, great name as well. Great to see everybody in here so early, gearing up for today's big game. It's absolutely madness. But guys, I do want to have a conversation around Postecoglou because, as you know, Jack, I haven't been well the last couple of days. So I haven't really looked at anything. I haven't even bothered keeping an eye on Twitter. I haven't looked at anything at all. But I want to sort of better understand where Spurs fans are at now with Ange Postecoglou, because heading into them big games, there's a lot of questions around him being tactically naive. You know, that he's not good enough for this sort of level at Tottenham Hotspur. We don't win away from home. We don't beat the big teams. Well, I mean, we put that to bed last week by beating the big teams. But, Jack, many fans have criticised Postecoglou for being tactically naive. After recent victories over Guardiola and Emery, do you think Postecoglou has proven his tactical acumen, or do you think the critics still have valid concerns?
That's a great question, Dave. I was asking people that on the fan show the other night, kind of like, has Ange's stock, really risen, like considerably, you could say, in the last week? Is this maybe the largest proportion of Ange doubters that maybe have been moved the other way or now have swayed, back to believing in him? Has this maybe been the largest income of, passengers to the Ange train express, the Ange believers? It feels like that might have been the case this last week, because you go from doom and gloom, really terrible performance, Crystal Palace. Everybody is kind of all of a sudden starting to jump on his back again, starting to make questions, about, how much can he, really do in the Premier League, the consistency problems, all that sort of thing. And then to knock out Guardiola as well as Emery in the same week, probably two of the most master tacticians really in the Premier League. Everybody likes to praise Frank and others, but I think most people would consider Emery and Guardiola right now is probably the most tactically astute managers, guys that almost are just a little too obsessed, about the X's and O's and, the dynamics of football and everything, all the micro details of everything. And I think Ange Postecoglou's really probably gotten, a good amount of faith from Spurs fans after these last two games. And, rightfully so, Dave. I think this season, you could say we've improved pretty dramatically in set pieces, defending wise. I think we could still do better. Don't get me wrong. We could still be better. But I think a lot of it is actually down more to the players than it really is just us, kind of tactically or anything that Ange is doing wrong. And he's improved in that market. You could say defensively in the transitions, we're not getting counterattacked on or transitioned on nearly as devastatingly or nearly as often, which is a big sign of improvement. And then the other thing I would add too is that I think a big problem still with Spurs is that I don't think we're really clinical enough. But despite not being clinical enough, we've scored the most goals in the Premier League. So, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If we can create enough chances like we are with this Ange Postecoglou system, we can get away with not even being that clinical of a team. So you could say majority of the problems Spurs have had, I think, are pretty much more down to a player issue. And Ange has shown huge signs of improvement, I think, in the last 6 months or what, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating the length of time. Maybe it's only been a short amount of time that he's really, kind of convinced a lot of people. But you could say from the get-go this season, I think we have looked like a different outfit. And I think we have looked a lot more polished.
100%. Even some of the games, bar the Palace game that we've lost, I think we've been the better team. And we should have a lot more points on the board in terms of the Premier League. But I do think Postecoglou is justified by coming in here and implementing the style and the philosophy first and then going with tactics after, which is what he said he was going to do. And I think he's been justified by that in the long run. A lot of the questions about defensively, can we shore up a little bit? I mean, we're fourth joint, fewest conceded with Man City and Arsenal, and many people use Arsenal as the benchmark in the Premier League. So we've improved in that area. we're not creating chances going forward despite dominating possession. We've improved in that area. Like you highlighted, Jack, we've massively improved, defending from set pieces. So I do think he is. I do think Spurs fans should start to get off his back in terms of calling them the likes of Postecoglou, calling them tactically naive and stuff like that, because it's clear he does know what he's doing. Guardiola and Unai Emery in 1 week, who many Spurs fans have sort of referenced as reference points on where we want to be, tactical genius and stuff like that. Well, he's outdone both of them in a week with making a lot of changes and having to deal with a lot of injuries as well. And he hasn't used that as an excuse. He's been able to get this team over the line, and fair play to him. I think a lot of the stuff around his tactics and stuff, I think should hopefully quieten down a little bit now. And I think he's definitely proved a point in the last week.
Great question.
Drew, Spurs have scored the most goals in the Premier League from open play and conceded fewer goals than last season so far. Given the improvements in attacking and defensive stats, is it fair to say that Spurs are moving in the right direction under Ange Postecoglou now?
Yeah, I think so.
There's been a lot of doubts about Postecoglou. Were we moving in the right direction? We're not beating big teams, blah, 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 blah. Do you look at the project now and say, yeah, we are moving in the right direction, especially with us improving in a lot of the areas that Jack highlighted?
Yeah, I think you've got to look at the bigger picture, especially when it comes to a change of coach and a huge change of ethos throughout the entire club, right? So you've had to, it's not really just a case of out with the old and in with the new. Like I personally believe he's had to do so much work in the background as well, that it's hard to say there hasn't been a progression in my eyes. Like they're a more cohesive unit. And I don't think as well, there were 2 coaches that were added in the off season. I think it was Nick Montgomery and Sergio Raimundo. And I don't think you can maybe underestimate what those guys have potentially brought to the table as well. Especially, I feel like we do look a lot more solid, especially that first 11 as well. And I think also, if you look at, I know we were all saying it from the beginning, but for Ange to move Kulusevski into the middle, to play with 2 kind of hybrid 8-10s and have a holding midfielder, but then in some instances switch that up and have almost like a double pivot where you've got Sarr covering so much ground that he almost acts like a second 6. Like, you can't tell me those aren't things that don't come from a coach that doesn't know what he's doing. Like, I can't deal with people that are just flippantly just say things without any kind of follow through, any rhyme or reason. Like, it's almost like they heard the soundbite somewhere on a TikTok and they just pick it up and use it for themselves. Like, he's not a bad coach. You don't do what he's done and win what he's won and be a bad coach. Like, so for me, I think there's absolutely been progression. I think the only thing, just to go back to the previous comment from earlier, I think the only thing really that could stop us from really progressing now is a bunch of injuries. But then I would also like to think, like, let's say we're unlucky enough to lose Van der Ven and Romero, and then let's just say Dragusin picks up something as well, and we have to play one of the kids for a couple of games, and we lose a few points. I would like to think that the fan base, so we're all a little bit grown up enough to realise that the situation is what it is, and you just kind of get on with it, right? I mean, I know that's easier said than done when it comes to football, but if we were put in that position, I'd like to think we'd all be a bit like, oh, okay, Alfie Dorrington's just had his first Premier League game. He lost 1 or 2-0. I would think that there would be a little bit of, the fan base would be prepared for that if worse came to worse. But then, it might not be the case.
Look, I can't really speak on that because I'm one of them. I do get angry after defeats. I can't hide it, I can't hide it. But look, I
get angrier at the manner of the defeat, right? If we had every right to be angry after the Brighton game, and we had every right to be angry after the Palace game. But there are times where I thought we've just been a little bit like the Newcastle game. I thought we should have got at least a point out of. And that's like, we showed up, we did our bit, we didn't get demolished 6-1 or 5-0 like we have in the past. We held our own, and it was just one of those ones where, it's just on your day, it just doesn't go for you. So yeah, I think there are obviously ways of winning and ways of losing. I mean, I'm terrible for it. I had to disappear for a few days after the Palace game because I absolutely, it was just rough.
Yeah,
But
it was rough.
if we ended up with a bunch of injuries and one of the kids had to step up and they were giving it 100% and we just happened to go down by a couple of goals to nil just because it's the situation, I can't get mad at that, So I kind of see it both ways.
Look, let's wait and see what happens tonight. But I do genuinely think we are starting to move in the right direction, which is a great thing for us Spurs fans, and hopefully by sticking on by Postecoglou, we'll come out the right side. But don't get me wrong, I do think we need to be a lot more consistent. At home, we're fine, and I think it's exciting because I'm a firm believer if you want to go on and win things, you have to make your home ground a fortress, and it does seem like we're doing that. But we do still have huge issues away from home, and we're away from home tonight. Jack, how important is it for Postecoglou to address Spurs' away form and then demonstrate consistency in all competitions before the sort of last of the Ange doubters maybe get on board with him?
Yeah, this is the tough thing though, Dave, is that we're so threadbare for this game that it's a really hard game to change over that away form. But you'd argue this is going to be one of the toughest away games that maybe we'll face so far this season or have faced and maybe will face this season. It's just that we don't really have the best of players, maybe for it, available to us. So it's going to be a real test. And if we do get over the line in this game, away from home, I think that should really inspire some confidence in the team because everybody's had to step up. Guys that normally wouldn't maybe play in a game like this are going to have to play. And it could give that sense of, camaraderie, that sense that everybody has to contribute. Everybody is a part of the journey together and will have their moment to be a part of the team and to contribute in some way. But that's one thing I'm a little worried about, Dave, is that this would be a great game to change around our away form if we had maybe our best players available to us and we had really good, options when it came to rotation and knowing which guys we felt like are ready for maybe a game in an atmosphere like this one. But we don't have a plethora of choices in certain areas. So, best of luck to the team to see if they can really inspire some confidence and some real togetherness. But I don't know, Dave, a huge opportunity to improve the away form, but sadly we just don't have the best of teams available to us. I'm a little worried, it's not going to, change right away in a game like this.
No, look, it might not change right away in a game like this, but at some point, we're going to, someone in the squad is, some starting 11 is going to have to stand up away from home, be able to start grinding out these victories and give us a start, somewhere to start away from home, something to build on, And that's tonight where I think we will have to rely on whatever experienced players Ange Postecoglou does decide to put out there tonight. They have to go out there. They have to show mentality. They have to show fight. And they have to help guide these youngsters through it. And most importantly, they've got to be vocal tonight. Let's wait and see if that happens. But Drew, what do you make of this comment here from Chance? He says, let's all admit it. Ange played one way last season, and that made some of us concerned. But this season, we realized that he can change. So now most Ange outs are now Ange in after realizing that. Look, I don't want to get into the Ange in, Ange out. Quite frankly, I think it's boring. I'm just going to judge Ange on what I see in front of me. I'm not getting involved in it. Right. But has Ange changed, the way he's played from last season to this season? Because I'll be honest, I don't think he has. He still has the same sort of style, the philosophy. He hasn't really changed the way the fullbacks play. The only adaptations he's made is at times gone 2 pivot, 1 attacking, or 2 attack and 1 pivot. That's the only really changes. But has he changed the way he's played? Yeah, okay, against Newcastle, we saw a result where we didn't have as much possession. That's been an anomaly, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've spoken about this on a couple of shows about last season and the lack of the ability for him to be able to play the first 11 and how the team hadn't played as a unit or even in their subsequent units, right? The defenders hadn't played with each other particularly often. The midfield hadn't. The striker, our front line was non-existent last year. So I think he's become a little bit more nuanced in the way that he sets up, but as far as like Ange ball, which to be honest with you guys, I absolutely fucking hate. I don't know why he gets his own brand of football. Like everybody else, you don't hear anyone say Pep ball. You don't hear anyone say Klopp ball. It's either Gengham pressing or tiki taka. Like it's a style.
Maybe it's a
but
Spurs
Ange
thing. I
gets
think it's a Spurs
Ange
thing because
ball.
we did say Conte ball, we did say Nuno ball, we did say
Stellini ball, don't forget that one.
It is.
yeah. I think it's a Spurs thing.
I fucking hate it. But anyway, yeah. So I think his principles don't change, but I think you're able to see an evolution of what he would like to implement when you have more cohesive units and you've got players on the pitch that know how to play with each other. Like I hate harping on about it, but I just don't understand. I don't get why there are some people that don't think he did a good job last season when you put together everything that he had to do, the players that he lost, mainly Kane. But like,
He finished fifth last season.
yeah, exactly. But then there are still people that don't think he did a good job, and I don't understand that. It just makes no sense to me. I'm Ange all the way. Like I think I wouldn't go to. I'm not. I don't know. I mean, Dermot says he's the second coming of Bill Nicholson or something like that. I don't know if I'd go that far, but Dermo, we all love Dermo. So I don't know. I think he did the best he could with what he had last year. I think I've used the analogy before that he was cooking without spices. Do you know what I mean? All he had was the meat and potatoes. He didn't have any salt, pepper, coriander. Like he didn't have anything to spruce it up. It was basically like what you got was what you got. You got a piece of meat and some potatoes, and you just had to, that was good enough. Now I think he's able to sprinkle in a little bit. He can change things up. We've got a more confident Brennan Johnson. Ange has shown that he's not afraid to pull out Maddison if he needs to, if he doesn't think he's doing the job that he should be doing. Like, I don't know. He's everything that we've asked for over the last few years. And he has nothing but my backing. So, yeah, to Chance's point, I think, I don't know that most Ange outers are Ange in. I think, most people still have their opinions. But I would like to think that he's winning a lot more people over. And obviously, as well, you've got to take into consideration what you feel and the vibe online. My understanding, and I say this knowing that I'm living in the middle of America right now, but my understanding is the vibe online is completely different to the vibe in the stadium.
Yeah, and I think it will, because obviously the people online is a larger voices, from all over the world, whereas people that go to the stadium, it's only a certain section of the fan base. So, obviously I do think the noise will be a bit different online. But Chance, for me, I don't think it comes down to Postecoglou changing. Don't get me wrong. He's improved, the back line. He's improved us defending from set pieces. We're creating a lot more chances going forward. But I think they're natural progressions once you give the guy the right pieces of the puzzle to work with. I think last season, it wasn't about, I think last season where many people went Ange out, and I'm not speaking for them all, they can speak for themselves. But for me, I think it was maybe more of a lack of recognition of the big job that he undertake, and maybe hold him to a certain standard that he has to come in and win everything in his first season, which was never going to be the case. You have to remember, this guy came in, and despite whether he knew Harry Kane was going or not, we sold Harry Kane, the club's all-time record goal scorer. We, despite many fans not thinking we paid the price for that last season when we were nowhere near as potent as we could have been. If we probably brought in a striker earlier, we'd probably be in Champions League this season. That's not on Postecoglou. That's on the board. Not replacing Harry Kane. And once you lose Harry Kane, we're always going to take a hit regardless. So he had to get that forward line right. Then he had a midfield where no one really knew what the best sort of trio was in there. He had a lot of injuries to deal with last season. He was dealing with a lot of backup players that he didn't want to use, that since subsequently gone, that let him down in a lot of these games last year when he went to make rotational changes and stuff like that. Okay, I still don't believe we've had the best summer transfer window. I still believe somewhere along the line it's going to come back to bite us a little bit this season. But with the improvement of the squad players and stuff like that, and, bringing in the likes of Dom Solanke and stuff like that, we have improved vastly on the football pitch. And that's where I think you're seeing the improvements because of the business we've done. A workman is only as good as his tools or as the tools you give him. Postecoglou done a fine job with the tools he was given last season, and this season he's elevating it a little bit more with with a better transfer window behind him. So I don't think it's that he's made drastic changes to what he's doing, because he just hasn't. It's more so that he's been given more pieces to the puzzle to make it work, is what I would say, Chance. But look, let me know your thoughts on it. I'm open to dialogue. I'm not saying I'm right, and I'm not saying you're wrong. So please let me know your thoughts on that, Chance. Big yourself up, my man. Really appreciate the comment and getting involved in the conversation, my man. We have MV Joker Davies. Davo's back. Yeah, I don't know for how long, to be quite honest with you. I had a decision to make. I could roll myself out of bed Monday and Tuesday and just, I know myself, when I get like this, it just gets worse as the week goes on. Or take the 2 days and try and get back in some sort of nick for today. So far, I've lasted 48 minutes. Let's see how much longer we can last today, Eddie. Hopefully, you know, the more we win, the better it is for me, the more enjoyable it is. We all know it's an absolute mood changer. So big up, Eddie, my man. Really do appreciate the support, brother. But guys, let's keep this conversation kicking. Let's keep it moving. Away from home, as we spoke about, is a huge problem at Tottenham. So I want to know from you guys, and I just need to run to the toilet quickly. Can Spurs maintain their strong attacking form on the road? Or will they need to tighten up their defence away from home to achieve consistency? Maybe play 2 pivots instead of 2 number 10s, because away from home is becoming a huge problem. And we've seen we're struggling to go away from home and really sort of get the results playing the way we're playing. So I'm going to leave that with your hands. I'll be back in 1 second.
I have a strong feeling we might get some goals tonight, Drew. You know, Galatasaray's defense, as you and I were saying, you know, maybe not the strongest on paper. Last season in the Champions League, whenever I watched them, they were a bit of a basketball-like team, or any of the games they played were a bit basketball-like. You know, they would score goals, but then they also were very open to conceding at the same time. So I do wonder, actually, if just this game in particular, even though, yes, we don't score maybe as many goals away from home as we do at home, I do wonder if this game will have goals in it. Maybe we will end up getting an opener nice and early, or it just will just be a back and forth type of affair. But would you say that maybe Spurs are a bit too reliant on scoring all their goals at home versus away from home?
I think I wouldn't necessarily say I mean, the way that we play, I think, and again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I think it's all about being clinical, because I
Yeah.
think even away from home, we've managed to get good chances, and we just haven't had anybody clinical enough to put the ball away for a goal. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, there's a couple of these match facts that are on the BBC website about Galatasaray have won one of their last 6 meetings with English sides. So they've drawn 2 and lost the other 3. This is their first ever game against Spurs. We've won, drawn, and lost 1. Well, all 3 of Tottenham's previous meetings with Turkish opponents have been against Besiktas, and we've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 1. But then, yeah, I don't know, man. I think just if we stick to our principles, and if we keep building on the squad that we've got, I think Ange is a good enough coach that I think that the away form will naturally start to come. But I think, I mean, I've heard enough pundits, enough people say that it's hard to win away from home in the Premier League. It's hard to win away from home in Europe. So I think you just have to go out there, do the best you can. If you can grab a point, you know, great. I mean, I would always go for 3 points first. You will never hear me say I will take a point now, because if there's 3 points on the table, then I want 3 points. If after the fact we only ended up with a point, then fair enough, that's happy days. But I want the 3 points if they're there.
Yeah.
But you've got to, I don't know, man. I think
you just got to go all out attack in a game like this, because we already have like limited defense. Archie Gray, Ben Davies, Dragishin, like we are going to be vulnerable defensively in a game like this one. So if we were to try to lock up shop, you know, make it really difficult to break us down, I just don't even know if that's the best approach for a game like this one. I think we just lean on our. We have Sonny, Johnson, Solanke available. There's a chance we could score a lot of goals against this Galatasaray
I just
team.
don't know that I just don't know that Ange would try and lock up. That's not his philosophy, right?
No.
His philosophy is to just play forward and just go and get a goal and go and get a goal. And we go again and we go again. Like, I don't ever think you're going to see us, you know, with a low block with 3 centre backs and wing back. Like, I just don't, because even he said if he were to do that, or if he were to set up any different, then what does that say about everything that he's trying to drive into the players, you know?
No, look, I hear what you guys are saying. For me, I don't think it's a question of him needing to change his tactics. I think for me, it's a question of him getting that midfield three right away from home. I think away from home, you cannot afford to play 2 number 10s. The home team at some point is going to be spurred on. A lot of home teams make their home ground a fortress. That's where they pick up the majority of their points. So it's going to be a tough game. It is going to be a battle. And I think that's where Postecoglou needs to go with 2 pivots, a Sarr and a Bissouma, or a Sarr and Bentancur, or Bentancur and Bissouma, whatever 2 you want to make. I think that's the key there for me away from home. I think this year away from home, we've gone away from home, tried to play 2 number 10s. Against Brighton, when the game got tough, we collapsed, right? Palace, when the game got tough, we didn't have the answers, anyone to muck in, help turn the ball over, because we were playing 2 number 10s. And I think that's the big thing for me where Postecoglou needs to change. And like I said, not style, not formation, but in order to start putting points on the board away from home, he has to go with 2 in the pivot and not 2 number 10s. I think that's the fundamental thing he needs to change going away from home. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a game by game thing, right? Because if you're playing, I don't know, bottom of the table, whoever bottom of the table is at the time, and you know that you could potentially get away with only playing 1, then I think the opportunity there for him to put 2 8s or the 8-10 hybrids, I think he would do it. But I think you're right, I guess, and this is not to question him because who am I, but I think you're right. You need to, you do, especially when it comes to the Premier League, you have to look at who you're up against and where you're up against them. And yeah, if you've got to rein them in just a little bit, just so that you don't get trampled on in the first 45 minutes, or another Brighton situation doesn't happen, then yeah, that's valid points, man. Valid points.
Jack, anything you want to add on that before we move on, my man?
I agree with your midfield point, Dave, about maybe the nature of just, the other team will get moments of momentum. You want to be more defensively strong in those situations. You just have to perhaps concede, that you can't have, maybe your most attacking lineup. I just wonder, though, in a game like this one with Galatasaray, I just feel like they're very front heavy. Drew said that to me, and I would agree. At the back, I think they don't really have as solid of a defense, really. And so I just wonder if we just go kind of big guns versus big guns, and just see who kind of just scores the most goals in a game like this one. It's probably not the most, realistic or probably the best approach. It's just how I see it. We're already kind of weak at the back. Maybe we just try to make up for being weak at the back with just a very creative, very attack heavy forward line, which would be kind of Madison, Bergvall up, kind of in the midfield, some kind of version of that. And then you go with your big guns of Solanke, Sonny, and Brennan Johnson. But I understand your points about putting Sarr in a game like this. Sarr probably makes the most sense in a game like this one. I'm curious if Ange Postecoglou is going to lean on him or lean on Bergvall. We'll probably touch on this later because Sarr's been probably one of our most informed midfielders right now. So do you keep playing him while he's hot, or do you give him a rest for the important game against Ipswich? But we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll probably get into that. But for me, I just think with Sarr, I think you could probably play him tonight. He's been on the periphery for up until recent games. So I do think there's plenty of minutes in his leg. And I think he's one of the key players for Tottenham Hotspur away from home for sure. J-Mac, we're going to take a few comments and we'll keep cracking on. J-Mac says, are those academy players eligible to play, or are they in Turkey just for training purposes? No, they're eligible to play. So basically, when you register with UEFA, you can register an A list and a B list. And a B list is basically a lot of your under 21 players, homegrown players that you can put on that list that you could basically transfer into the A list. It's very complicated that you could transfer into the A list if you do suffer injuries and stuff like that. Although in the A list, you still have to register 4 players that are trained by the club. So bit complicated, but that's what it is. And the young players that have traveled today has been Alfie Dorrington and Dante Casanova. Both have played centre-back for the under-21s. I know Dorrington can play left-back. Casanova probably could do a job at full-back. That's where they play. Going into the midfield, you have Callum Olasesi, by the way, is Mikey Moore's best friend at Tottenham Hotspur. If anyone didn't know that, he's a central midfielder, powerhouse, big boy as well. And then in the forward line, who's travelled has been Will Lancashire and Luca Williams Barnett, who Will Lancashire's a striker, and Luca Williams Barnett can play anywhere across the front three. So that's the youngsters that have travelled tonight for anybody that wanted to know. I've seen a few comments asking about that. We've got Chance, big up Chances. Personally, I think we've been playing well away from home. Except for Palace match, I think results will come. Look, I do think they will start to come. I think it's sort of a natural, gradual process, but I do think there is merit into playing 2 pivots away from home rather than two number 10s. I think that's where we could start really sort of giving us that solid foundation away from home. Q7, everyone always says about Andrew's philosophy. No one is asking him to change his style, but you can't be blind. You have to adapt to situations, especially away from home. And look, one thing I do think, like, as make tactical substitutions away from home and stuff like that to try and input the game and stuff. But the Brighton one, the Palace one, like, you think you would have learned from the Brighton one and went with like Papa Matasar or something like that in that midfield from the off against Crystal Palace, and he didn't. Hopefully he's learned his lesson now, from them 2 games, and realizes you are going to have to earn the right to play away from home. So you have to put your ball winners in there and only go with 1 creative midfielder, Q7. Hopefully that's my logic behind it. And then there was a comment from SOF just quickly I wanted to take, and then we've got a few chats, that super chats that we will get into. Let me just bring up SOF's comment. Where is it? Basically says, let's stop saying Ange lost Kane. Emery doesn't get the excuse they sold Grealish. My main criticism of Ange is his away form. You cannot compete for honours, only winning 3 away games in 12 months. I understand.
Technically, they sold Grealish before Emery came there. So
yeah, they sold him under Steven Gerrard, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
they sold him under Steven Gerrard, if I'm correct. So, I don't think you can really use that. But we did sell Harry Kane on Ange Postecoglou when we made his job harder last season. That's just the reality of it. We can sit there and accept it, or we can sit there and deny it. That's on you, but that's the facts. We struggled last season without him, and Ange Postecoglou had to navigate his way through that period. That's just the facts of the situation. If you don't like Ange and you don't want to acknowledge that, that's fine by me. That's on you. But that's the facts, and that's what it is. But I do agree with you in terms of the away form, 100%. You've got to start turning up away from home. You're going to get in the later stages when the legs are 2 rounds, right? In the knockout stages, you're going to have to go away from home, dig in, get results. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, you're going to have to go away from home, dig in results. And if you want a Champions League spot out of Premier League, you're also going to have to go and dig out results. So you're absolutely spot on. You have to sort of match your away form with your home form. And look, that's the last step we need to take under Ange Postecoglou, SOF, to really kick forward, my man. But the Rangers game is coming up soon, innit, man? I think you're Rangers as well, aren't you? So that'll be interesting, SOF. Good to see you, though. Big up, my man. I really appreciate the comment. We've got Donovan Oosterreicher. He says scrambled egg, sausage, Salisbury steak, fried onion, banana, blueberry, Greek yogurt, and hot coffee. Blessed. Let me share that with you. Come on, you Spurs. Thankful for you guys. Well, first of all, I think it's lunchtime for me, so that makes me very, very hungry. Thanks for that, Donovan. Jack and Drew, it's breakfast time, so I don't think they're too happy with that comment. They're salivating here on screen. They're starting to drool. But also, I question the breakfast. For me, it's got to be one or the other. You go for the hot breakfast or you go for the cold breakfast, Drew. You seem to have gone for a bit of a combination of both here. I don't know if it's game day for you as well, but, I'm not sure the hot and cold combination is one that I would be after myself now, Donovan Oosterreicher. But I'm open to be swayed on it, so feel free to sway me.
I think he's getting into like Michael Phelps or Dominic Solanke type shape, Donovan Oosterreicher. So he pretty much is eating, as many calories as he can, for the gains. And if you were eating like a pro athlete, Dave, this is kind of around, sometimes the amount of calories that you might need to be taken in. You might need to have everything on the breakfast menu, not just one item, but pretty much every item. And so, to be fair, I think that's a pretty good assembly. He's got all the fixings from the yogurts to the fruits to the fried onion to some steak to eggs, sausage, pretty much everything there. It's not even a version of I think it's like I don't know. It's hard to say if there's a name to that sort of assortment of a food.
Buffet.
So
Isn't
It's a
it? Isn't
buffet,
it
or
a
is it
continental?
an
Continental
it's not a
breakfast.
That's the
Canadian
one,
breakfast.
continental.
It's not an English breakfast. It's not an
Yeah, I think
American breakfast. It's a Donovan breakfast. It's
In
pretty good.
hotels, they describe it as a continental breakfast, don't they? Where you
Yeah.
get all that
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
plus cereal and juices and stuff like that. Well, look, big up, Donovan. Let me know how the continental breakfast goes down, my man. Enjoy it, sir. Absolute legend. Not sure my stomach's speaking to me now. It's they feed me. Ibarstan try. Big up says, welcome to hell. Look, welcome to hell. Look, one thing you're not going to do is scare me. I'm not really scared of anything, bar snakes and spiders and creepy crawlies. But in terms of away days, I absolutely relish these. For me, when I used to go to local rivals, they're the games that I used to be up extra early for, out stretching before anybody else, prepare myself mentally right. I used to absolutely love these. And I want Tottenham to start mirroring my appreciation for these big games. So look, you may say welcome to hell, by the time we're finished, we're going to say welcome to heaven, my man. So good luck today. And let's see, hopefully the best team wins tonight. But we're definitely going to be leaving saying welcome to heaven. Davy Shire is with a super sticker, Jack. What is it? He's lifting weights, getting pumped up.
Number one fan
Jumping
is what
up
he's
and
written. Number one fan is what he's written. Big up to Davy Shire. Really appreciate it, man. And like I said, to plenty of you guys, I think this is going to be a really fun game. I know we're a little light, and we'll be talking about the lineups and what Ange will go for and whatnot, but it's still a massive game, David. It's still a massive game. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be in a crazy atmosphere. We get to see maybe some guys that, maybe normally don't get to contribute in huge games like this. You get to have that little mystery. Will they pull out an amazing performance out of the bag, out of nowhere? Ben Davies, Dragishin, those sort of characters. Will they just have a master class out of nowhere? It's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think with an opponent like Galatasaray, if we were to get a win, away from home as well, I think it'll be a very memorable game. So it's going to be, I'm really excited for it. It's one of the games I've probably been actually secretly the most excited about from the moment we got the calendar, really.
No, I'm really excited for today's game. I'm really up for it. And, even with a depleted squad, look, I'm up for the fight. This is what it's all about. Even when you're depleted, you got to go into the Lions' Den. You've got to be able to turn them over, bring some camaraderie, and get out there with a result. You do that, it creates some unbelievable bonds in the dressing room moving forward for Tottenham Hotspur, and will only be good for us on the football pitch. So I do think tonight could be important for us in many ways. But look, this is what I love about being in European competition. It mixes it up. From the Premier League, you get to experience different atmospheres, different stadiums, different cities, different cultures, different fan bases. Like, Turkish fan coming in here saying, welcome to hell. Absolutely love it. I'm all for it. This is what it's all about. And for me, it's all about trying to recreate the memories that my old lad had of Tottenham across Europe, where we rocked up, went across Europe, played our football. We mixed it up at times, got rough and tough if we needed to, all white under the lights. That's what it's all about. And hopefully tonight can be one of them nights, Davy Shire. Big up, my man. And as they say, welcome to hell. We're going to embrace that today, my man. And at the end of the day, we're the fire guards, right? We've got the hoses, we've got the water, so we're ready to put them flames out today, my man. Douse them flames. And he's also gifted one Irish Hotspur membership. Who's that gone to, Jacko?
Hamish Connellan. Big up to Hamish. Please take advantage of the membership. Come on, have a chat with us. Great name, like Dave said. And would love to be able to chat with you on a fan show or send in a fan cam, please. And everybody after today's game, send in those fan cams. Be happy to upload those. And really appreciate the generosity, Davo.
Absolute big up, Dave. I really appreciate the support, my man. And Steve's gone with Scotch egg. They're absolutely lovely. That's one thing I do miss about England. You can't really get Scotch eggs over here too much. Only sometimes in markets, but absolutely brilliant. And SOF has come back. He says Emery took over midway through the season and they sold Grealish. He didn't get to spend the Grealish money in his first window. Ange got the Kane money and was able to spend it the right way. Fair enough, but I would also say I do think the Aston Villa squad in terms of a whole squad was in a much better place than what Tottenham squad was, to be honest with you. But that's just my feelings on it. SOF, look, to be honest with you, I take your point. I'm not sure we're going to see eye to eye on this point, but we will see eye to eye on our way form and needing to improve. That's for sure. SOF, big up, my man, and really, really appreciate support. And guys, don't be afraid to disagree with us. Get your questions in. We don't hide. We'll bring them up on screen and get a good conversation on them. But before we get into talking about the lineup today, guys, We face significant challenges in away games this season, like we spoke about. But tonight's match against Galatasaray at Rams Park in Turkey, we're bringing a especially hostile atmosphere. Like the Turkish supporter said, welcome to hell. How crucial will the leadership of experienced players like Ben Davies be in helping and guide the younger players through such an intimidating environment?
Will players like Ben Davies really help them, get through an intimidating environment like this one? I'm not so sure.
Wasn't he the one that complained against Vitesse? It wasn't him that complained about the crowd?
Yeah, I'm a little worried. I think Ben Davies is a guy that I think if others are playing well around Ben Davies, I think Ben Davies can come on and match those levels and can, do well in situations like that. Is he the one to inspire others to victory? Is he the ones to motivate them to get over the line? I'm not so sure. Again, I'm very much, someone who's very biased probably against Ben Davies. So Ben Davies fans, feel free to disagree with me in the chat or feel free to make it known, that Ben Davies is that sort of character. I think it's going to be more someone like a Vicario that could really help us in a game like this. You think that there will be some dangerous moments, from Galatasaray. I did say in the predicted lineup, Dave, that Vicario, the reason you do play him in this game is that we already are going to be a little light at the back. There will be some chances, Galatasaray's way, and will require him to make some top level saves, I imagine, at some point in this game. And if Vicario is switched on and if he's really pumped up and animated for a game like this, he could inspire others. He could give them that sort of, that motivation, that adrenaline for a game like this one. And I think there could be some others like, who knows, a Madison or even a Bentancur. I think Bentancur has been terrific in some games like this, especially high profile games. He's been really good. But specifically Ben Davies, Dave, I'm not so sure. Might have to be someone else. He's been a part of the Enes Miras. He's been part of the Pachos de Ferreras. He's been a part of some of the worst performances I've ever seen, in a Tottenham shirt. Of course, it's been a short time, as a Spurs fan, but I just, maybe I'm being harsh, but it has to be someone else.
No, I understand what you're saying. His previous record, are you really going to look to him as that leadership today to drag you through that game? Not quite so sure, but maybe someone like a Vicario. I think that's an interesting conversation. I do think it would be wise for someone like Postecoglou to go with a Vicario, given it's Dragusin and Davies as centre-back partnership tonight, having that experience, that vocal behind them. But we are going to need leaders. But I'd also suggest, can someone like Papa Matasar have a coming of age today? Really, one of the youngsters really step up, lead their way through, make headway in terms of becoming a leader or really embracing these tough environments. Let's wait and see what happens. We do have Dermot in the background, but just before we bring Dermot in, guys, we're going to take time to plug our sponsorship of NordVPN. So I think NordVPN is absolutely perfect for you guys, especially those who do travel away to the away Europa League games. It's absolutely perfect for you. It means you can watch all your subscriptions, all your favorite TV programs, find out what all the big sports channels are saying about Tottenham games on your travels. So it's absolutely perfect for you guys. And it's an absolute great way to save money on watching Tottenham Hotspur as well. You could basically cancel whatever subscriptions you have and go web surfing and find the cheapest subscription to you, because I can assure you there is a lot cheaper out there. It also helps you in more ways than just football. It helps you save money on traveling. NordVPN can switch your virtual location, allowing you to save money by purchasing flights, hotel subscriptions from other countries at a cheaper price. Also, it's great for the whole family. One NordVPN account can be used on 10 devices, which is absolutely huge. Now, so a lot of them now, you pay for one, you can only use it on one device. NordVPN is making it cheaper on you and a better experience for the whole family, up to 10 devices. So that means your phone, your iPad, your computer, your telly, smart telly, whatever it may be, you can use your NordVPN on. And it's also the fastest VPN in the world. No buffering or lagging while streaming, which I think is absolutely crucial. And it stops your ISP bandwidth throttling, which leads to your lagging and your buffering. It's absolutely crucial, because when I used to watch streams and stuff like that, I'd get all the action in the middle of the park, but anytime anything happened up either end, conveniently, it would freeze or lag or buffer. So NordVPN definitely helps with that, guys. Also, NordVPN, if anyone is worried about security features, premium cyber security for the price of a cup of coffee per month. It also has threat protection feature that protects you from viruses, malicious malware, and phishing sites, protecting your data whilst traveling and using public Wi-Fi. And it also protects you wherever you are in the world. And it also protects your private data like bank details, passwords, and online identity. So it's absolutely safe. Jack, have I missed anything?
Excellent plug, Dave. I just say if you're a football nerd, I think it just makes your football watching experience just a lot better, right? You can save a ton of money. You know, plenty of people don't get to watch every single Spurs game just because TV companies don't let you. They don't always air every single game. Allows you to move over to a different country, perhaps pick up a cheaper streaming service, but also just guarantee that you get to watch the game. I remember back in the day, I also used to go to some dodgy websites to watch, Spurs games, when I could. Again, now with the world of VPNs, you can just move yourself to a different country, just be able to watch it on a legit website, a legit streaming service, and have no stress about it whatsoever. And like I said, maybe save yourself a buck or two. So please, everybody, it's in the chat. It's pinned at the top of the chat. It's in the description. Grab yourself a 2-year plan and get 4 extra months free as well. And you'd be really helping out the channel as well. So use that code FLATCAP over at NordVPN. But well done, Dave. Excellent job.
And if you don't want to take our word for it, Ramos, NordVPN is really good, lads. Get on it. And I know there's a lot of other people like Elta, Cockerell, Jose. They all have their NordVPNs, which has been absolutely a godsend for them. So if you don't want to take our word for it, take their word for it. And most importantly, if you guys do get it, not only do you get to save money coming up to Christmas, and that's good for everybody, but you're also helping out your 2 favorite content creators in Dave and Jack, really trying to help push this channel forward. So guys, feel free, get on it and get whatever subscription is best tailored to you. But look, let's keep it moving. Let's get back to talking about Tottenham Hotspur. Peter Kagais has gifted out 1 Irish Hotspur membership. Jacko, who's the lucky recipient? There's been a lot of you guys today. It's like Christmas Eve here.
Simon Coley has been gifted a membership. Big up to Peter. Really appreciate the support. And Simon, do thank your man Peter there. You could come on, have your say with us next fan show, chat about the wonderful form of Spurs and Ange Postecoglou and the next upcoming game. Spurs have the chance, Simon and Peter, to go into an international break actually happy for once. It feels like it's been a long time since Spurs fans have felt pretty good about their club going into international break. So big up to Peter. Appreciate the support. And also as well, Danny Darko renewing his membership, becoming a Flat Cap member. Thank you very much, Danny. And thanks for all the support that you've been showing us. I think for a while now, you've been in the chat lots of times and support us over on the Big Up Network. So thank you to you, Danny.
Big up, Danny. Really appreciate the support, guys. And Peter Kagais as well. Nice and early for you, Peter. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. And then RST also says, you know the rules, Dave. We need to see food and cake from your birthday, Dave. Look, to be honest with you, cake... do you know what? Right, the missus got a cheap jam sponge cream cake just to sort of put candles in. But we got little what did I get? I got a custard slice. I got like a chocolate eclair. That was my sort of birthday cake. Little cakes like that I could feast on with a cup of tea. And then for dinner, just actually had a nice Chinese, actually. RST, I'm not going to lie. Look, I will get pictures. Don't worry. I'll get pictures, my man, and I'll put them up for you. But big up. But Dermot, how are you, sir? How are you keeping? Good to see you. Pumped for today's game?
I need an effing drink. That's what I need. I need a fucking big bottle of whiskey or vodka or whatever. Yeah, it's just been one of those days when everything can go wrong, has gone wrong, will go wrong. I just need to go to the pub. That's what I need. Well, but I couldn't miss coming on here.
You're not going to the pub tonight, Dermot. You're going to hell, apparently.
Yeah, I am, yeah. That is hell over there. Yeah, we've seen Galatasaray. Drew probably remember as much as me, even the great early Man United sides with the great Eric Cantona over there, getting sent off at foot after him hitting a Galatasaray player or punching him or scissor kicking him or something like that back in the day. Over there are not cases. Graham Souness, they have a derby over there. It's a bit like Celtic and Rangers, but times 50. And one thing you don't do is bring a Galatasaray flag with you. They beat them, won the league. He ran into the middle of the pitch with a Galatasaray flag and stuck it straight in the central circle. Just to make a point that we've won the league. It is nightmare over there. I wouldn't go to
game cancelled today with Ange Ball.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there and watch a game there. Let's put it that way. They are walking into the one hell of a hostile environment. So Ben Davies is going to be behind every player and probably round their nappy because he's probably going to piss himself. After what he said, Dave, after what he said against, I forget who it was we played against. It was the atmosphere. The atmosphere got to us.
Yeah.
God knows what he's going to do tonight. Serious to God.
Yeah. Look, hopefully he's grown up a little. They do say with wisdom comes age. You know, I think my wisdom is, you know, it's knowledge to know that fruit is that tomato is a fruit, but it's wisdom to know not to put tomato in a fruit salad. So they do say with wisdom comes with age comes wisdom. So hopefully Ben Davies has learned to deal with some of these hostile atmospheres, you know, heading into today's game. Peter Kagayas, of course, most importantly, do drink that responsible, my man.
Yes,
but enjoy 200 bottle of scotch. I mean, look, fair play to you. You know, if you like what you like, so enjoy it. Any mixers with that, or is it straight down? Let me know, Peter. Big up. We've got Shikari Shock. I'll be honest, I fear we are going to lose this one. Our injuries, the hostile atmosphere, I just can't see us getting a result. I hope they prove me wrong. Well, look, let's see if they stand up to the test tonight, right? It's a big game. Let's wait and see. You know, we don't have a good record away from home, but, you know, every away game that comes around is an opportunity to start and making amends and putting that right. So hopefully tonight's the night. Big up, just a harmless bud. The ground holds 50K, but 85K will be there. Welcome to Istanbul. Absolutely. But look, what I said to them is, get my kebab ready. I like doner and chicken. I don't discriminate. So I'll have a bit of both in that with some salad. Get it ready. Big up, just a harmless potato. But Jacko, with Galatasaray representing a tougher challenge than previous, with an injury hit and likely youthful Spurs squad travelling to Turkey tonight for a FIS Europa League clash, is today a great opportunity to actually test our depth and see how well the team performs with some of our top players missing? Because, you know, I know there's been a lot made of it and we bemoan our luck with injuries, but I actually look at somewhere like tonight, with it being a Europa League game, not as intense maybe as the Premier League, it's a real good opportunity to test out and have a look at where your squad players are at, you know, what level they're at. Can someone like Burval come in tonight and kickstart his career maybe?
I think it's going to be the most fun test we'll maybe have this season, hopefully, when it comes to some of these fringe players, you know, guys that normally don't get trusted for these bigger games. And that's what makes this one really exciting. It already was a really good game on paper, but now that we are limited in our choices when it comes to certain positions, and we are going to be relying on third, fourth choice, you know, kind of options really, or pretty much no choice at all in some of the positions. I think it's just going to make it fun. You know, it just have to see how it unfolds, see which players end up stepping up, which ones don't, which guys pull out. Like I said earlier, you know, an incredible performance, hopefully out of the bag. And like I said, you know, with the guys like that who maybe don't get to play too often, it gives you that feeling that you get to contribute, you know, still to the season in some sort of regard. You might not get to play as much as a Christian Romero, or you might not get to play as much as a Sonny or a Mickey Van de Ven or whatever. But, you know, big games like this are massive. And if you're the one that gets us over the line, you know, guarantees us that spot into the next rounds in the Europa League by beating Galatasaray away from home, that's a huge contribution to our season and to this journey. So I think, Dave, you know, it's going to be a ton of fun to test these fringe players and these guys that are maybe on the edge of the squad and not, let's say, Ange Postecoglou's favorite choices. It's just going to be a really good test, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. And do you know what? One player that sprung to mind just quickly there is Alfie Dorrington. You know, he was in and around the periphery of the squad last season. He was actually kept, and Ashley Phillips was the one sent out on loan. And I remember Postecoglou really name-checked Dorrington a couple of times last season ahead of the likes of Donnelly and people like that. And unfortunately, he suffered a hamstring injury and then ended up having to go and get surgery, which sort of curtailed him a little bit. But him being back there tonight, traveling with the squad, heading out to the Europa League, I think he bloody deserves it. And do you know what? I hope over these next two games, the guy gets a few minutes to maybe prove his work, because we are short across the back line, and just having another option coming through that Postecoglou can maybe rely on up until the January transfer window, I think would be a wise decision. So I'd hope to see him get some minutes today and tested at this sort of level and see how he gets on, because look, first and foremost, you have to be very good on the football to get into Postecoglou's team. And that's one thing Alfie Dorrington is. And I think that's one thing Postecoglou will like about him. But the question comes around the physicality. Could he deal with someone like Osimhen? I think that's maybe too soon. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully we can get a few goals tonight. And then hopefully he can get a few minutes off the bench to see what he can do. But guys, let's move into talking about the, certain positions in the lineup. Let's talk about the partnership that we're going to see today. Of course, Ange Postecoglou faces a relatively straightforward decision in choosing his centre-back partnership for tonight's Europa League clash against Galatasaray. Mickey van der Ven will be sidelined until the international break due to a hamstring strain, while Chris Romero is also out after a foot injury, forced him off during last weekend's victory over Aston Villa. So,
can I make a point that Romero injured himself in that bloody play, and he's an idiot. Well, because he went in for that rash challenge that he didn't need to do, past the halfway line, and then injures his own foot, trying to be some sort of superhero that he didn't need to be. I can't stand it when he does this shit. Sorry.
Do you know what I will say though, Drew? It was only a couple of games ago. People were having and I can't remember this, but people were having a conversation with me about Romero not being aggressive enough. And I was like, but sure, what do you want? You all asked him to stop being aggressive last season and stuff like that. And I do think Romero is one of them that plays on the edge. And I'm not sure it is a stupid tackle. I think they're just teams that it's just the way Romero plays. And I think you have to embrace it. I get what you're saying. He's injured himself and stuff like that. But I think if we ask him to stop making challenges like that, I think you lose the player. I think he's one of them. He plays on the edge. And that's what makes him such a great player. But chat, let us know your thoughts on that, guys. What Drew has had to say there and what I've had to say. Let us know where you stand on that one. So we are going to see a centre-back partnership with Radu Dragosin and Ben Davies today. Dermot, we'll start with you. My man will introduce you. Mm-hmm. How do you think they will get on this week against Galatasaray and Ipswich? Because, to be fair, they've been pretty solid together. They were solid and seeing out the Aston Villa game. They were solid against Man City. Saw that out. And there's a couple of other times they've played together this season where they've actually been pretty good together, Dragosin and Davies.
Yeah, I think I said it to Jack, I think. I don't know if I said that on the fan show, Jack, on Twitter Reacts. I said Ben Davies got better since Eric Dyer and Sanchez left the club. So I think he sort of improved after them two clowns sort of left and went to their various destinations. But look, yeah, Ben Davies hasn't put a foot wrong, to be fair, when he's been asked. He saved us against Coventry as well. We can't forget that as well. That dive and tackle saved us from going out of that competition. So, look, playing Galatasaray and Ipswich, two different sort of outfits altogether. I think with Ipswich, you're playing at home and you're more comfortable with your home surroundings. You've got your home fans to back you, and I think you're a bit more comfortable playing at home. But playing away tonight, he's got the experience. He is an experienced defender. So he should dwell on all that experience of playing for Wales and playing for Tottenham in tougher situations and use that experience to guide that back four through this tonight. And Rudu is showing the player that he is capable of stepping in and stepping up when we need them. So, look, I've got no qualms about them two in defence tonight. I know I joke about the intimidation and what Ben Davies said a few years ago. But I think tonight, if we have Vicario on goal, I think that's the big thing for me. I would start with Vicario because you need a goalkeeper in there that's going to talk and shout at these central defenders and keep them on the toes and keep them. You're not doing this, you're doing that. Fraser Foster doesn't do that for me. And I think Vicario does. And I think you start with Destiny as well and Porro. I don't think you start with Archie Gray. So you try to start with the back four that finished the Aston Villa game and try to start with the five that finished that and start with it. Now, you can change it going through, but at least they've got the experience of all playing together and knowing what to do and how to see games out. So in my view, I've got no problems with tonight with Ben Davies and Rudu. I think they should be good enough to really play well tonight. So let's just hope they don't prove us wrong.
And look, we'll have more conversations about them, but the lineups are out and we'll go through them now. We've got Fraser Forrester in goal. So what me and Dermot wanted to see with Vicario ain't happening. It is Fraser Forrester, Radu Dragosin, and of course Ben Davies will form the centre-back partnership with Pedro Porro at right back. Does it look like Archie Gray going in at left back there, potentially, maybe?
It does, yeah.
Or maybe he goes in at centre back with Davies at left back. They'd be interested to see how that works out. Midfield three of Madison, Basuma, and Bergval. And then a front line of Johnson, Will Lancashire, and Sonny. So Solanke, after his 2-goal heroic against Aston Villa, has been rested, which was a big concern for many. And what a huge opportunity for someone like Will Lancashire, especially now with Richarlison out for 4 weeks. This is Will Lancashire's chance. You know, sometimes at big clubs like Tottenham, they don't come around twice. He's going to get a sustained period of games now. Yes, you've got the international break, but there'll be a couple of Europa League games after the international break. He'll probably get minutes as well. If he can come in tonight, lead the line, grab a goal or two, I think potentially Spurs look at getting rid of Richarlison in January. So I think this is his opportunity now to come and take. But look, we'll go through everybody's individual thoughts on the lineup and then have a few more questions. I want to get in a bit deeper on someone like James Maddison, who, of course, only came off the bench against Aston Villa. I think was a shock to many. But, Jack, what's your thoughts on the starting lineup here? Is it experienced enough? We spoke about welcome to hell. We need experience. You got Fraser Forrester, Son, Basuma, Maddison, Pedro Porro, and Ben Davies.
I'm mostly okay with this lineup. The only one that I have a big concern over is Fraser Forster once again. Don't get me wrong, Azed Alkmaar, he actually played pretty okay. Like, he did end up, let's say, calming some of our nerves, because I think a lot of us were losing our heads when he was picked for that game. At least that's what I remember, where a lot of people were really freaking out about his choice of Fraser Forster. I feel a bit similarly in this case. Again, like, I just don't know if this is a game for Fraser Forster. Feels like we already have a weakened defense. You would think that the goalkeeper would be busy in a game like this one. And that means that we're going to require some elite shot stopping at certain points. And if also Galatasaray decide to press us, it'd be nice to have Vicario for really good shot stopping to, keep it a close contest, but also as well, in case we need to play out from the back. Fraser Forster, he's better than Lloris, but that's not saying very much, when it comes to playing out from the back, Fraser Forster. So I'm a little worried in that department. Apart from that, Dave, like, the Lancashire one was a bit of a surprise. I did think he would go with Solanke, just kind of push him, while he could. And
he's on the limits, though, right, Jack, or Solanke?
He should be. Yeah, he should be. He should be. It's like we've been training him for a marathon or for like an Ironman or something like that. It's been a little ridiculous. But for some reason, I thought Ange was going to just try to push him to the limits and play him in this. But I'm actually happy with the Lancashire opportunity. I'm actually all for it, to be honest. It's just maybe Fraser Forster is the one that I have some concerns over. I feel like, Dave, the 2 predicted lineups I've done this season, were some of the hardest ones. Maybe I'm just being, biased because I don't have to do them very often, but they've been some of the hardest ones, and I'm a little disappointed.
They've been midweek ones, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
You have to guess the changes, yeah. Yeah, the Premier League ones are easier to do. Yeah, the Premier League ones are easier to do.
Totally. Didn't do the Forster one, and I got the Solanke Lancashire one wrong. And I also got the Porro one wrong. I actually thought he was going to go with Udogie.
To be honest with you, I probably would have got 3 or 4 wrong as well. I wouldn't have put Lancashire to start tonight, despite Salah. I thought maybe Solanke starts, does 50 minutes, Lancashire off the bench, but it's a huge opportunity for the kid, which we'll get into. Steve Fraser says, I've lowered my expectations for tonight. Hope we win. If we don't, no probs. Big up, Steve. And then someone put in saying it's a great lineup. Who is it? Matty. Good to see you, Matty. Hopefully you're keeping well. He's very happy with the lineup, True. Is it as good as we could expect from, Postecoglou, given the injuries and stuff like that? I don't think it's a bad lineup. I'm actually confident.
I don't think it's too bad. I've a big shout to Derek Hutchinson. Forster goes down in installments. That is
big up that
boy. Brilliant. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, I guess it's probably as good as it was going to get. I'm wondering whether Bergval and Bissouma are going to do some sort of double pivot thing, or whether Bergval's going to be allowed to kind of roam a little bit. I worry a little bit about Maddison sometimes. I don't know. I mean, I know people have questioned his attitude recently. I don't know. I really wish he was somebody that would take the game by the scruff of the neck, but he just doesn't seem to. I don't know. I would rather have had a Kulusevski in there, but obviously Kulu's probably got more minutes in his legs at the moment, doesn't he? So
Madison's been rested a lot.
Yeah. No, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm slightly concerned. I know everyone's been going on about Osimhen in the chat. I'm slightly concerned about Icardi. I didn't realise he scored 61 goals in 86 games for this lot in over 3 seasons. I mean, that's a pretty decent return. So they're no slouches up front.
No.
We better be on our game because I could see this. I don't know. I could see us getting overrun fairly quickly if they're on it.
We're facing 2 strikers. We haven't had to do that. It's kind of
Right.
an old school thing. That's more of an old school type of way to play with 2 strikers.
Exactly. And Dragusin and Davies, I mean, I like the balance there, being as you do have the left footer and the right footer. And I think Dragusin is going to start to show. I mean, even if he gets to play on Saturday or Sunday as well, maybe, depending on how bad Ramos's toe is. I think Dragusin, I think there's something about that kid. I like him. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a tough one to call. I'm not going to be mad if we end up, if we're, like I said earlier, I'm not really mad if we lose. We're still in a good position. But I don't know. This isn't one of those games where I think you can just go in and be like, oh, yeah, let's do a Sean Maddox 4-0. 4-0. We'll just call it 4-0. I just don't know if it's one of those games, man. This might actually be quite tight. It might be a little 2-2 or a little 2-1 or something.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be a tough one. Just quickly, though, I think we forgot to ask earlier, there are well over 400 in the house, and we do only have about 100 likes. So if you could improve that ratio for us, we'd be very, very appreciative. Please, everybody, if you have been enjoying the pre-match build-up, Dave's, pulled himself, away from the from the sick bed. He's pulling, a tough shift in today. He's getting ready for battle for the Europa League. So please, everybody, smash the like for him. And also as well, thanks to Drew and for Dermo for helping us out today. But please, everybody, smash the like. I think it's been a good pre-match build-up, and we're getting towards the end here anyways, and only 100 likes.
Come on, guys. Smash them likes buttons. Not good enough. Sometimes you have to get the house in order. The likes really help us in terms of the algorithm, really pushes us out to more and more people. So please smash that like button. It's very, very important. And Dermot, what's your thoughts on the lineup? A lot of people, the general reaction I'm seeing is they're okay with it. They just don't understand why the 3 is in goals, is what they're saying. Their words, not mine. What's your thoughts on the lineup, Dermot?
I have to agree with Jack. I did the predicted lineup for this, and it was hell. I agree with Jack. It was so difficult to do because I had Vicario in goal, and I had Udogi in for Gray, but Gray is as a number 6. I had Basuma and Sarr and Madison and Kulu on the wings with Lancashire up front. Do you know what? It's an okay lineup. It's just Foster worries me. That's the one that worries me. Foster worries me. I went for a 2-1. I said we're not going to lose. I said if we come out with a draw, I'd be happy. If we lose, I won't be happy because it's in my nature. I don't like losing at anything. So that's just me. That's just in my nature. I hate losing. Even playing EA Sports, I hate when I lose on that. I hate it. So I want us to win or draw. A point wouldn't be so bad. I think this is the side for a draw. But I don't know, Foster and goal, I would have preferred Vicario for this. I don't know. I don't mind the rest of it. It's just Foster. That's the one that gets me. But
everyone's saying the same thing there.
I know, but the thing is,
although Tom says he was good against HOTSPUR now, which to be fair, he was.
Yeah, I slagged him off. I called him an oak tree, and he proved me wrong for that. So I did actually. So he did prove me wrong that night. So Foster, you're an oak tree if you're watching. You might prove me wrong again tonight. So I'm surprised Sonny's playing with his injury. I thought they might have rested him or bring him off. But look, Ange knows
I don't think there's anyone else to play out there, is there? Because Mikey Moore's not there. You're missing Werner.
Manderson played on the left side for Leicester quite a lot, so you could play Manderson on the left side.
Do you know what? You make a good point there, Domo, because that's one place where I've not seen Maddison get given.
He's not historically a winger, though. He's played most of his career through the middle as a number 10.
Yeah, but he has played out.
And even but the odd time, Darren, even at Leicester, he played the majority of it through the middle.
Yeah, but when he did play out the wing for Leicester, he did play quite well. So he can play out there. I'm just a bit worried about Son. But look, Ange knows what he's doing. He's got all the data in front of him. He's got all the facts and figures. So look, if he thinks this is the side to get us a victory out there, then in Ange I trust. He knows better than me, but just Foster. That's the only one that worries me. But Over the moon,
Vicario
mate.
out there. Get Vicario out there. Goalkeepers don't do nothing. They can play 60 games. Get him out there.
Well, I'm hoping Forrester won't be tested too much tonight, personally.
I think he
with
will,
Lancashire
man.
getting a start. Great for him, though. Great for his confidence as well. And good in this environment as well. Getting used to it. So, yeah.
100%. Big up Woodsy TV. Become a new YouTube member. Really appreciate the support, buddy. And welcome to the community. Make sure you keep an eye on the community section of the page. There's lots of good, perks and benefits. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Really appreciate the support. Woodsy, guys, we're going to go for about another 2 minutes. Just give my quick thoughts on the lineup. Then we'll go through score predictions. And then we will end off. So if there's anything you think we've missed or anything you want us to address or discuss, please get it in now. And we will do so. My quick thoughts on the lineup. Look, I understand the concerns around Fraser Forrester. I think Derek Hutchinson put it brilliantly. He goes down in installments. But saying that, he played well against AZ Alkmaar. Preferably, I think Forrester should do the European games at home. I think away from home, I think is where you do need that leader in the group in terms of a carry-all. Across the back line, it's going to be very interesting to see whether Archie Gray does play left back, right back, or centre back. Of course, it's unknown. I think with Pedro Porro coming into the lineup probably means he'll be out on left, but you just don't know. He might go in beside Dragusin with Davies move out to left back. I think tonight's a huge night for someone like Lucas Bergvall, with how well he took the season. I think his season has stuttered. He's been unlucky in the Europa League. He had to come off early in one of the games, and the other two games have been tough for him. He hasn't really been able to get going. He hasn't really been able to showcase his passing ability. So hopefully he can do that today. In terms of James Maddison, we'll probably get into it on the watch along. I think it's huge for him today, and I think I'm going to ask Jack about what does James Maddison actually need to do to display in terms of when he gets out on the pitch, to get back into Postecoglou's thinking for the starting 11, because I highlighted it last week before the Villa game. Sarr and Maddison, well, I've seen Maddison's gone one ahead now in terms of goals, but they have very similar output in terms of goals and assists, but Sarr offers us a lot more in midfield. He came out with the Premier League record of turning the most balls over in a game against Aston Villa. So, we'll have to ask Jack about that. Big night for James Maddison. And then big night for Will Lancashire. Like I said, at a big club like Tottenham, as a youngster, you don't really get too many opportunities to really prove your worth. The good thing about Lancashire is I know around Tottenham, they sort of realize what they have in terms of Will Lancashire, in terms of the size of the guy, right? How big he is, how good he is, how clinical he is in front of goal. And they do want to develop Will Lancashire. That's why he's being kept around. But there's not going to be a lot of opportunities for him to really make headway into Tottenham Hotspur and get himself into Ange Postecoglou's plans. And with Richarlison out injured now for another 4 weeks, I think this is a huge opportunity for Will Lancashire to say, look, cash in on Richarlison. I'm your guy. You can trust me. I think it's a huge night for him. And I would say, I think he's been unlucky. The last game he played up front, he was close trying to get on the end of a few things. Hopefully that goal comes from him tonight. That would be absolutely brilliant. And Peter Kagay says, love to see how Lancashire goes. We've also got this from Geoffrey Bardry. Losing Big Vic through injury would be a nightmare. This game doesn't matter, so why risk him? No, that's a fair point. Scarfy Spurs talk. Big up, Harry. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says, big up, boys. Good to see you. Mark New says, to be fair, Forrester Gray are concerns versus Osherman. He's a monster if changes are needed. But you know what? We don't really have the answers off the bench to be able to deal with him either. I think Radu Dragusin is just going to have to step up tonight and take the responsibility. If I'm Osherman, to be brutally honest with you, I'm peeling on to Ben Davies all the time. They banking that I can physically sort of dominate him and physically dominate him in the air. So I think Davies, whether he likes it or not, is going to have a huge night tonight, personally. And then we have Kaylee Davies happily clapping from a sunny Seattle. Come on, you Spurs. Well, look, hopefully we're all happy clapping tonight, Kaylee Davies. That would be the ideal thing, especially me not too well. I know Drew's not too well. We've dragged ourselves to do this today, and hopefully we are rewarded with the victory, Kaylee. It'd be very nice to be happy clapping again heading into the weekend. But look, we will go around the houses. We'll get the score predictions. Let Dermot plug the channel. And we'll see you on the flip side on the watch along, guys. Jack, what's your score prediction, lad?
Something about this gives me 3-2, 4-3 vibes type of game. Really does.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
I'm going to go 3-2 Spurs. just because it'd be really ton of fun, to win this game, with everything included. And big up to Kaylee. It's we'll take the sunny days while we can before the months of darkness come, Kaylee. So enjoy it. For some reason, it's still early enough in the morning that the sun hasn't creeped over some of the buildings that I'm next to yet, but eventually it'll be shining in my face. But 3-2, Dave, and I think this should be a ton of fun. This should be a good game.
Yeah, no, I'm not really expecting too much. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it and see how it unfolds. Drew, really appreciate your time today, Mum. Oh, boys, so sorry. First of all, boys and girls out there, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, please get in the chat and give a massive big up to Jack. Carried the can over the last few days. Usually we divide out the match day content between us. It's very hard for one person to get it all done, and he's absolutely trooped through. So everybody show your appreciation to Jacko in the chat for that. Really appreciate it, Jacko. Really, really do appreciate it. It's nice sometimes just to be left alone when you're sick in bed to deal with it. So I really appreciate that, Jack. But Drew, guys, another guy, I texted him earlier on today. He wasn't feeling too well. He's not well at the minute, a bit down at the minute, and look, I can understand why, but I really appreciate him again, pulling himself together, dragging himself out of the bed for coming on here. I know a lot of people really enjoy his contribution, and I think he brings different talking points, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I really like the guy. I think he's a really nice guy. So, Drew, thank you for today, and what's your score prediction, sir?
I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you for the kind words. Everyone in the chat, smash a like for these two wonderful gentlemen and all the content that they roll out for you. I'm going 2-2. I don't like to sit on the fence, splinters and all that.
You sure John's sitting on the fence today? So, another win. Hopefully that's the case today. And then last but not least, Dermo, you're making a habit of turning up to these late every week now. Later and later as we go through the season. I know today. I'm only messing with you, my man.
Yeah.
But guys, please get over, check out his channel. He's on the hunt for 2K, not too far away. So please, guys, make sure you get over there and smash the subscribe button. He's very popular on these pre-match shows. Everyone loves his enthusiasm before the games. Dermo, thank you for arriving today. Putting the in-laws to the side. And what's your score prediction?
Yeah. I'm only 42 away from 2K, so I'm really close now. So hopefully we'll get there soon. Big up to Jack as well for all what he's done. He really done a fantastic job. I enjoyed doing Twitter Reacts with you. Had a blast doing that. It's so much fun. I can see why you love doing that, Dave. It is so fun to do. And Drew, I hope you feel better soon, sir. It's always great doing the show with you. I really enjoy it because you keep me on my toes, and I need that. And you're a great contributor to this pre-match. Look, I'm going for 2-1 Spurs. I'm not going for anything hairy. I'm not going for a 4-0 or 5-0. I'm not going out there. So look, 2-1. I'm going to stick to my match day prediction. And by the way, I'm on the hunt for that title in that match prediction league. I'm on the hunt. I'm going to win that league. I'm on the.
You keep guessing 4-1 every week. I think a lot of averages. You probably win it, Dermo.
Well, look, if they did, if Tottenham's defense was so bloody lousy at corners, I would have got it spot on because I predicted 4-0 for the Villa game, and it won't for Tottenham's dodgy defending at corners. It would have been all right. But yeah, we're only 42 away. Over the channel at the moment. Column's not well at the moment. Tequila's out ill, so I'm sort of running the channel myself.
I'm here for it.
Look, yeah, so look, it'd be great for all of us if we can get 4K, 2K. Yeah, so we're only 42 away. So please, but do it here first as well. These lads are nothing but legends and really good friends of mine, brothers of mine. Been there for me when I needed them, and to me, no nicer lads. And I'll tell you one thing before I stop. They're the same off screen as there are on screen. And that's very rare in this community. It's very rare in YouTube community you get that. You meet Dave and Jack, and I've had the pleasure of their company outside of YouTube. They're exactly the same. No hairs, no graces. And that's what's nice about them lads. They're the same on as off. So proper legends, and it's a privilege to know them and come on to these shows. So big up.
Appreciate that, Dermo. Top man. Guys, hopefully everybody's enjoyed the show today. Lastly, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been wishing me happy birthdays and stuff like that. Really does mean a lot. Your boy turned 33 on Monday, and I feel older today. I feel a few more grey hairs coming through, but I really appreciate the birthday wishes. And lastly, I see a lot of people saying, Dave, hope you're okay. Look, for anyone that doesn't know, I've had a really tough time with psoriasis down the years. I've had it from head to toe, one of the worst cases in Ireland. And basically, I'm on these injections, and I have to take them every 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks to sort of keep it down, because I was at a point where I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, couldn't bend my arms, it was without cracking and being sore. So I have to take these injections, and every once in a while they hit me. So hopefully that explains it, and really appreciate the well wishes. And guys, we'll see you back here for the watch along. We're going to hell, and hopefully we come out living in heaven. Come on, you Spurs, in the big arms we trust, and most importantly, we never stop.
Going to hell on a fiery ants train. Come on, you Spurs.
I love going to hell.